They say the most powerful magic isn't found in a dusty tome or a hidden cave. It's found in the corners of our daily lives, the way we set our intentions and build a life that feels as sacred as it does successful. Welcome to the Coven's Corner. We're here to bring you grounded, accessible magic every witchy Wednesday, and there's a seat at our table for you. So grab a cup of tea, and let's look at the world a little differently. Our circle is open. Let's begin. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Coven's Corner. Our circle is open, and we are so incredibly happy to welcome you back to our altar today. I'm Kacey.
And I'm Dawn. Welcome back, everyone. It's so great to sit down and connect with you all again. So, Kacey, let's dive right into our weekly vibe check. What's on your altar or on your mind this week?
Well, living in a coastal New England town, the local landscape is completely taking over my space right now. On my altar, I have a small bowl of Atlantic sea salt that I dried myself, alongside a beautiful, smooth piece of gray driftwood I picked up on one of my morning walks.
I love driftwood.
On my mind has been the concept of the oncoming wave. Working in academic support, my summer is a constant cycle of preparation before the massive tidal wave of students that hits in September. It made me really reflect on how much our internal lives mimic the coastline. What about you, Dawn?
Absolutely. On my altar, I have a handful of shells and a piece of deep green sea glass that I found on the beach. And sea glass, you have to determine whether or not it is ready to be taken or if it still needs more time. So that's another topic we'll talk about. On my mind has been the sheer power of New England weather. We don't get gentle seasons here. We get dramatic shifts. One day it's humid, there's a heavy fog, and the next day it's a fierce nor'easter vibe. It forces you to become resilient.
It really does. And it teaches you how to anchor yourself. And that's the exact relationship with our rugged coastline is what inspired today's episode. We are stepping right onto the shorelines of our home turf. Today we're talking about the New England coastal magic, exploring how to work with the energy of the tides, the magic of the coastal storms, the protective power of sea salt, and how to intentionally practice with found objects from local beaches.
I'm so excited for this one. So there is a very specific ancient magic to the New England coast. So let's head down to the water's edge and break down the rhythm of the tides.
All right, well, let's start with the literal heartbeat of the ocean, the tides. As coastal practitioners, we learn very quickly that you cannot force the water to do what it is not ready to do. Kind of like my toddler.
Yes.
The ocean has a rigid natural law of ebb and flow.
Right. And as modern human beings, we completely forget that we're also subject to those same laws. We expect ourselves to operate in a permanent state of high tide, always full, always active, always producing. But if the ocean stayed at high tide forever, the entire coastline would be destroyed. The low tide is required for the ecosystem to survive.
That is such a powerful way to look at it. In my daily life, balancing a high-demand campus career and parenting, I've had to learn how to map my personal energetic battery to these cycles. When I have a day where my energy is completely bottomed out, instead of panicking or feeling guilty, I tell myself, it's just low tide right now. The water will return. This is my time to expose the sand, rest, and see what's hidden beneath the surface.
Yes. Yep. And on the flip side, when the high tide of a busy orientation season or a massive project rolls in, you don't fight it. You ride the wave. You use that expansive, high-volume energy to push your goals forward.
Exactly. And magically speaking, you can time your intentions to these shifts. If you want to draw abundance, creativity, or a new professional opportunity towards you, perform your rituals as the tide is coming in. If you need to banish a corporate scarcity mindset, release anxiety, or cut a tie, do your energetic work as the tide is pulling out, letting the ocean carry the weight deep into the Atlantic where it can be neutralized.
It's a $0, and you know how much we love those $0. It's a $0 framework that completely aligns your internal clock with the planet. You stop fighting the current and you start flowing with it.
Exactly. And once you get that sense of what your tides are, you'll have you'll have a much easier time just kind of going with the flow and recognizing when you're at a high tide or when you're at a low tide. And you can also tie this into the moon phases and things like that, because as you probably know, the moon rules the tides, rules the oceans, rules the water. So it's really being able to connect with that energy and recognizing the reflection within yourself.
Right. So in the last episode, we talked about, or the episode before, we talked about spells that fail. And some of the reasons that spells may fail is because they're not done at the right time. The pathway that spell is following is blocked. Instead of using things to our advantage, such as the tide flow, if we're not in tune with all of the aspects of it, that can cause a spell to fail. Right? So it's really important that you learn and you understand all of the aspects and everything that goes into spell work. It's not just saying words and lighting a candle. There's so much more behind it. So please take the time to learn about these things and understand how you can use them to your advantage and make them work for you.
Mm-hmm. And remember, the tides change every 12 hours. So you always have a new opportunity to do magic and to, really align yourself with that energy. So there's always those new opportunities that come, as the waves roll in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our next segment. Now, we can't talk about New England without talking about storms.
Yes.
There is nothing quite like a summer electrical storm crashing over the coastline.
And the energy of a coastal storm is unmatched. It is pure, raw, unbridled power. In witchcraft, a storm isn't something to hide from. It's a massive celestial generator. When a heavy storm rolls in over the water, the atmospheric pressure shifts. The air fills with ozone, and the literal psychic density of the neighborhood gets cracked wide open.
It feels so electric. I love safely sitting by the window during a heavy downpour and using that chaotic, fast-moving energy to charge my protection tools. If you leave a jar of coarse sea salt on your windowsill during a coastal storm, that salt absorbs the protective, boundary-shattering power of the lightning and the wind.
Yes. And not that I ever suggest that you do this, but I'm not satisfied with sitting home and watching it out the window. I want to be out on the beach when the storms are there. So do not do this at home, but it is what I do. All right. And sea salt is already the ultimate spiritual filter. Atlantic sea salt carries the memory of the deep ocean. It's grounding, it's structural, and it's fiercely purifying. If you're dealing with toxic office dynamics or heavy stress in your day job, take a handful of the storm-charged sea salt and scrub your hands with it. It acts like an immediate energetic reset button. It scrubs off all of that psychic sludge. We talk about sludge a lot.
We do talk about sludge a lot. But that sea salt really does just help clear that right away. You can even use the wind from a coastal storm to blow away stagnation. If your home or your mind feel completely stuck, opening a window just an inch during a heavy wind and visualizing the gale force air sweeping out the cobwebs of your mind, it's incredibly liberating. New England weather is hardy, and it teaches us to be just as hardy in our practice.
It's so powerful to be outside in a windstorm. Maybe for me, not so much if there's rain involved, but if it's a very windy storm, being outside and doing your best to harness that energy, it's just so amazing. One of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah, and where we live right on the top of a hill, which we have a beach very close to our house, we get that ocean wind that comes right up our neighborhood. So I love to just keep our windows open and let that, New England salt air just cleanse our space.
Yeah, that's what I miss about living at the coast.
All right, so our next segment. So let's throw a spicy, localized hot take out onto the altar. Is the good vibes only sunny beach aesthetic ruining real natural magic? Do we place too much emphasis on perfect, sunny, tropical alignment and completely discount the magic of foggy, overcast, rocky coast?
We don't, because because that's what we're used to working with. I don't know. I have thoughts on this. Social media loves the aesthetic of pristine white sand, perfect sunsets, and calm, crystal clear water. That's not real life, especially in New England. We don't have calm, crystal clear water. We have dark, gray, angry water is what we have. So our beaches are rocky. The water is freezing. The mud flats smell like sulfur at low tide. And the fog can get so thick you can't see your own hand in front of your face. And to me, that is where the real, raw magic happens.
Yes. The foggy, dark water days force you to look inward. When the coast is obscured by heavy mist, you can't rely on external sight. You have to rely on your intuition and your internal GPS. It strips away the superficial fluff.
Absolutely. The spiritual alignment isn't a permanent vacation in the tropics. It's knowing how to stand firmly on a rocky shore in a thick New England fog and still knowing exactly where you are and who you are. The storm, murky, deep water moments of our lives hold just as much medicine as the sunny ones, if not more.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, I think we as a society place too much pressure on things to be aesthetically pleasing. And, living in New England and dealing with, the rocky beaches and the
cold water.
And it's perfect in its imperfect nature. Nature is not perfect. And we aren't either, and I don't think magic is either. It's reflective of something that's more than perfection. It's real and it's raw, and the magic that is a part of something that is so profound as like the ebb and flow of the tides, or the perfect rocky beach storm. It's just there's nothing like it. There's absolutely no perfect picture that can compare to that energy.
Absolutely right. And I think sometimes, and we talk about this a lot for beginners and what their expectations are versus what the reality is. So I think again sometimes people that are new to the craft have this Pollyanna type of scenario in their head where they're going to be walking around with their magic wand and ting, 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 and everything is going to be perfect. But that's not the real magic. The real magic is being in the muck and the mire and fighting your way through it, out of it, learning who you are in the midst of all of it. That's magic.
Not fighting the current, but moving with it.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on to our next segment.
All right, to wrap up our coastal toolkit, let's talk about the absolute joy of beachcombing and how to ethically work with found treasures in your magic.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
All done.
So this is my favorite part of living near the water. You don't need to buy expensive crystals from a store, even though we do, when the Atlantic Ocean is literally throwing magical tools directly at your feet for free. Every shell, stone, and piece of sea glass, as long as it's ready,
That's right.
has a story and a specific energetic signature.
So absolutely. Take hagstones, for instance. Have you ever found a hagstone?
I don't think I have.
I never have. So these are rocks that are with a naturally occurring hole running completely through them, carved out by the constant friction of water and sand over decades. In traditional folklore, looking through the hole of a hagstone allows you to see through illusions, through lies, and false promises. They are incredible tools for clarity, especially if you're trying to navigate a tricky situation at work.
No, I've even heard that those hagstones can help you find our fairy friends as well.
Oh, I like that. So now I have to go out and look for them again.
No, we're going to have to, we'll take Killian on a beach trip.
That sounds good.
We'll look for those.
And he'll be the one to find it.
Of course he will be, because he is magic in itself. And even common things like slippery shells or clam shells can be used as tiny natural offering dishes on your altar to hold your herbs or your salts. Deep green or blue sea glass carries the dual energy of human creation, transformed by the patience of the ocean. It's a beautiful symbol for personal transformation and emotional healing.
Right. I have a large quahog shell, and that's what I burn my sage in. So, yeah, it's just that added extra oomph. All right, so remember the golden rule of beachcombing. Always ask permission of the space before you take something, and never over-harvest. Leave a little offering of clear water or pick up a handful of plastic trash on your way out as a thank you to the beach for providing you with the treasures. A lot of people think that's hokey, but you ask anybody that rides a Harley, and they will give an offering to the road before they head out on the road, just as a thank you for protection. So, yeah, we need to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, the concept of offering to nature spirits is as ancient as time.
Yeah.
You should always, when you're doing magic, there should always be a give and take. There's always that energetic give and take to things. So if the ocean is providing you with something useful that you can utilize in your magic, leaving something in return, even if it's just like a simple prayer or picking up beach trash, because Lord knows there's enough of it.
Yeah.
Giving that energetic exchange can help to maintain the honor and the dynamic respect between you and the nature spirits.
Yep. And it's no different than going out and foraging. If you're foraging for herbs, for plants, for whatever, you need to ask permission first, and you need to leave some type of offering as a thank you.
And we do it with deities as well. And, the ocean has its own deities that work with it too. So making a little offering to, our water spirits is always a good idea. So, it doesn't have to be something big or expensive. It could be something very simple or something very personal. Honestly, the more personal, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And like you said, it can be just saying some words. It can be just emitting a feeling of thankfulness. And that will be picked up, it will be absorbed, and it will be appreciated.
Absolutely. All right. I think we're on to our final segment. Yes. Okay. So it's all about maintaining that beautiful, respectful relationship with the land. And we want to see how you connect with your local waters, which brings us right to our Consulting the Coven prompt for next week.
So whether you live right on the New England coast or near a landlocked river, lake, stream, puddle, we want to know. What is one found object from nature that has washed into your life recently, or not so recently, and how are you honoring its energy? So email your coastal stories and photos. We'd love to see photos of your treasures to us at covenscornerpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. We can't wait to see what you have found. So before we close our circle and blow out our candles today, let's anchor this entire conversation with our weekly spark. So settle comfortably into your seat. Let your hands rest gently on your lap and let your eyes close. Take a deep, slow breath in and let it crash out like a wave. Imagine you are standing barefoot on a misty, rocky New England shoreline. Feel the cool, wet sand beneath your feet, anchoring you deep into the earth. Listen to the rhythmic, thunderous roar of the Atlantic Ocean as the waves roll in and pull back out. With your next inhale, feel the ocean tide rising within you, filling your spirit with raw strength, resilience, and clarity. And as you exhale, let the receding tide pull away every ounce of corporate stress, anxiety, and exhaustion, carrying it deep into the dark waters to be dissolved. You are as hardy and enduring as the coastline. The storm cannot shake you. The fog cannot lose you. You are in perfect sync with the rhythm of the earth. Take one more deep, bracing breath of the salt air. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.
Welcome back to shore, everyone. Thank you so much for sitting with us at our altar today.
So remember to keep your energy clear, ride your high tides with pride, and remember that the magic is always moving. Don't forget to follow our weekly updates on Instagram and TikTok at Coven's Corner Podcast. We'll be back next Witchy Wednesday.
Stay magical, everyone.
Be well. Thank you. As we close the circle for today, remember that the magic doesn't end with this episode. Keep looking for the magic in the mundane. If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to connect with our Coven. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Coven's Corner Podcast and at www.thecovenscorner.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a Witchy Wednesday. We'll see you next time.